In 2025, everyone is talking so much about how insane the new revive buff is.
They all revived, you're kidding.
You got nothing, and you're dead from Skarner reviving. Bye-bye.
We just killed him!
And why the boots upgrades are broken, that people forgot about a sneaky little update on minion waves that's gonna change the game forever. And if you exploit it, you will be able to take advantage of the enemy laner like a bully. See, the new season changes have been announced for a long time, but they don't put a lot of emphasis on the new minions' behavior. In fact, the only information out there are some shorts with some questionable information and a slow burner lengthy video by Freak, which, while it's very good and I recommend you watch it, the new Subway Surfer TikTok generation might have another thought. So what minion changes are we talking about? Well, even if I told you about the changes now, the average player wouldn't understand why it's such a big deal. See, most players don't know this broken tech, and even those who do fail to use it properly. So to understand the change and why it's such a big deal, let's talk about cannon timers. Take a look at this clip. Jax is hard winning lane into Riven with a lead of 2 levels, 20 to 30 CS, and an item lead because of having killed the Riven, and of course some wave prio. A top tier player with these game state conditions would easily be able to snowball the whole lane due to playing the waves correctly. But this Jax doesn't know a key detail. You see, like most people, he knows that after getting a kill you should try to shove and crush a wave under the enemy tower before recalling. So he does exactly that and starts recalling at minute 8 on the clock. This is literally the Jax POV right now. While he's buying his new shiny items and he starts making his way back to the lane, the enemy Riven is starting to push the way back to him, as she also wants to crash before Jax is back. Despite Jax using multiple Qs to make his trip shorter and the Riven barely having items, the wave actually crashes under the tower and starts bouncing back, meaning that Riven gets to farm 1 or 2 more waves for free due to the proximity she will have to her tower in her side of the lane. And also the Jax didn't get to freeze or deny XP on the Riven. Apart from this, in an average game this might also give the opportunity for the enemy jungler to come and even out the playing field, helping the Riven get a comeback kill on Jax. But think about it, how could this happen when we have such a lead? It's all about the cannon wave timer and how it determines the tempo you will have for recalling and being out of lane. You see, the only reason Riven was allowed to push the whole wave in time just before the Jax arrived was that she only had to kill 6 minions, since there wasn't any cannon. This is because Jax recalled in the minute 8 wave, and had he known about the cannon wave timers, he would have known that the 8:30 is the next cannon wave. So why does this even matter? Well, it means that he could have pushed the minute 8 wave instead of recalling, which is an easy task because it's not a cannon wave, meaning that it will die pretty easily. And then, when he actually starts recalling and making his way back to the lane, the Riven won't have enough time to crash it, since she has to kill a cannon now, on top of the wave, which is a pretty hard task considering that she's only running a Cofield's hammer. We saw how close the Jax was to actually holding the wave and freezing it before coming back to the lane, so the difference in time that the cannon would have made is enough for the Jax actually being able to hold it in front of the tower and freezing it, making the lane impossible for Riven and denying tons of waves, tons of XP and gold, and even making it so that she could die to either him or the jungler because she's pushed so far out of the tower. Scenarios like this happen literally in every single game that I watch or play, and most of my students do these mistakes. We are just lazy, and learning the cannon timers is kind of an annoying task when you consider this is a game we play for fun. After all, it's just memory and nothing else. But knowing the cannon wave timers will give you better recalls and will give you more tempo out of the lane. It is a huge deal. For instance, if you are a support looking for a roam timer and you don't want to hurt your ADC too much, you will have extra seconds worth of map presence and warding, which in turn means you can get deeper wards if you have a cannon wave timer. It just matters for everybody. So, what changes in 2025? Well, the extremely important part about 2025 minion changes is that every single cannon wave timer is going to change, as announced by Freak and, well, now the patch notes, which literally came out as I'm recording this. There is some confusion out there, propagated by some shorts and Riot's wording on the patch notes, that the cannon waves will come every 4 waves instead of 3. This is false. The truth is that only the first cannon wave will come on the 4th wave, and then they will come every 3 waves as they have always done. But because of the first cannon being offset, this means that every single wave now comes later. So to simplify, what we're talking about is that every single cannon wave will be coming 30 seconds later compared to the 2024 patch, And these are the new timers shown on screen. I highly recommend that you pause the video, take a screenshot so that you can apply this technique to your games. Now, time for a small disclaimer because I see the comments coming. The cannon waves take a couple seconds more each time due to some previous patch minion speed changes in the side lanes. This is not enough of a difference to matter for these numbers. You might find that the exact time the cannon wave arrives and meets in the center of the lane might be 4:33 instead of exactly 4:30. But what matters is that the easiest way to remember these are the round numbers. And if you want, you can mentally add the couple seconds after the fact in your mind. Aside from this, there are some other minion wave changes, such as they kill each other faster than before, which in turn means that if you're slow pushing, you cannot stack a big wave anymore, at least not as much as before, which is an intentional change in part to prevent early lane swaps and tower dives, since you cannot stack 3 waves and dive on the cannon wave. Whether this is actually effective is yet to be seen. So to summarize, in the new season you will have the first cannon wave coming at minute 3 instead of 2:30 like before, and every cannon wave comes 30 seconds later than they were until now. I hope you use this information to get better recalls and insane tempo advantages. I will see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.